Cliff, thanks so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me, Keith. I appreciate it.
I'm excited to talk to you because we're going to talk about Rapid7, which is one of the anchor companies in the Boston tech scene and such a meaningful company in the world of cybersecurity because things are changing constantly. So let's unpack that a little bit. What does Rapid7 do?
Rapid7 is a leader in cybersecurity, right? And it's a global-based company. We've got offices across the globe. We're headquartered based in Boston, but we've got offices in Tampa, Austin, Melbourne, Australia, Reading in the UK, Belfast, Prague, and more. And so when we think about cybersecurity as sort of the who we are and what we're doing, we basically provide a security operations platform that gives our customers true command of their attack surface, right? Like, where do attackers come in and try and hack into your environments, and what does that look like? And our software and our capabilities, our solutions, our our ability to create managed services for our customers is all part of our offering to help protect our customers' environments. So that's kind of the base area, and it really is about preventing breaches and thinking about how do we actually respond to threat actors that are out there.
Yeah, and as I mentioned, it's one of the anchor companies of the Boston tech scene. You're publicly traded. So what's new at Rapid7? Because you guys do a lot, but what's like the latest developments?
Yeah, great. I'd say, as we think about that, kind of commanding the attack surface, that's kind of our mission and what that means to help our customers do that. We have really started to lean into what our platform offering can be, right? So we started really as a leader in vulnerability management, which helps you like identify the vulnerabilities within your infrastructure. And then we've scaled that with a bunch of different products and solutions. So most recently, I'd say some of the biggest areas that we've leaned into would be, and we did some announcements in Q1 about managed detection response. So when we look at what managed detection response is, this is basically MDR, which is managed detection and response as a category. Our services are something that we create for that. And what that really means is we're able to look at monitoring and remediation of attacks, right? So that's an area where that's a critical area for our teams to say, okay, with a customer, what they're seeing, how do we identify, how do we kind of anticipate, pinpoint, and act on that capability? So with MDRP, this helps create like an active monitoring that goes deeper into the dark web. It gets into phishing kits and fraud and data exploitation. So it's kind of like an extension of that MDR kind of core capability to add additional capabilities and functionalities for our customers. So that's one big thing that I think is going to be a huge benefit for our customers in the last that we just launched, I believe, in Q1. A couple of things that we've been working on, and we just launched this last week, is ransomware prevention. So you're probably seeing the most amount of articles if you just Google cybersecurity and you're like, what are the top trends that are happening? The rise in ransomware is astronomical, and it is something that's hitting every customer and every company, and they have to really think about that. So what we've done is we've said, look, how do we really defend against these highly damaging attacks, right? How do we actually get, because these are the top priorities of a lot of our companies. So what we're trying to do is we've got basically preventative-based technology that adds a layer of defense to disrupt those early stages of the attack chain and stop threats. So we can identify at an earlier stage, be like, that looks like that's going to turn into like a ransomware-based scenario, right? And so that's all that attacker intelligence. That's all of our labs and our research that Rapid7 does really well. We pull that all together into our software, and it starts to help us identify that as capabilities so that customers can be like, oh, that's not just a vulnerability. That could turn into something a lot deeper that has true financial impact and have a takeover for us. So it really gives that 360-degree view across the attack surface and really helps us identify, okay, that's prevention right there. That's an area that we really need to think about, that ransomware, that impact. We've got some new partnerships that are out there with Comcast, which has been great, where they're using our MDR services for their business customers. So that's a huge area where I think we're going to start to see a lot of those partnerships and relationships start to really scale over the next few years. And that one with Comcast has been great. So those are the kind of the three big things that we've been working on at Rapid7 over the past first half of the year.
When someone joins the team at Rapid7, what's the culture like working there?
Yeah. I mean, I started in December of 2022. And, when I think about culture, a lot of times people make decisions based on where they're going in their careers, based on the opportunity. And a lot of people say the people. And I would say that's absolutely true at Rapid7. But one of the things when I think about culture, I think it's about the depth and also where that really starts. And I think that starts at leadership, right? When I think about culture is driven by the examples and the way folks show up in the world, right? With the way they believe in core values of transparency and never done and sort of our core values. That's an area where I'd say the leadership really embodies that. Everyone from Corey Thomas to Christina Laconi to Andrew Burton and more, and the senior leaders that run all the different divisions. So the culture for me is it's got this like high energy because it's a fast-paced moving B2B based business, right? With a category that keeps consistently evolving. But the folks in there are in it, right? Like they believe in our mission to help protect our customers. So that has a pretty big focal point. There's a kind of like a core DNA that you all get connected around, like almost like what's best for our customers at the end of the day. A lot of people say they're customer centric, but then they go into it to have real transparent conversations. And I keep using the word transparency because I think it's one of those things when you're starting out in your career and you're trying to understand, like, well, what are the conversations that the leadership talks about? They do. They like share that openly at town halls. They share, like, here's where we're at. Like, here's where we're having a great moment. Here's what we need to work on. Here's the things how I think about it from my angle. Like, and I think that creates an inherent trust. The one thing that I also that was probably the game changer for me was when I walked into the Boston office, it just had energy. It felt like you were at a place like it's a pretty incredible space. They intentionally made that so they want an in-person inclusive environment. You know, we go in 3 days a week, so there's flexibility and all those different things. But it's one of those things when you walk in, and especially for me coming from, you know, external agencies that always had kind of a vibe and a pulse and music going and that, you know, high energy, that creativity around it. You walk in and you feel that in our Rapid7 offices. And so I think that's super important to attract young audiences into the category. I think that's a moment where if you know, say you were ever thinking about not looking or looking at another place, you go, well, can I do my best work in that environment? Like, am I going to be able to have that coffee chat or have that hallway conversation, or is the tech solid so I can get like my work done really efficiently? They solved all of that within their environment. And I think that also gets modeled with the behavior of the leadership too, to really bring people together. And it's really based on a whiteboard, let's get in the room, collaborative based environment. That's kind of, if you're not down for that, then that might not be your side. If you just, you know, really want to present and go, it might not be the best. But if you want to get in there and actually learn from a ton of smart people and, you know, whiteboard, you know, we do this with our president. Like, we'll be in there and we'll be talking about, like, you know, different types of journeys and what does that mean and the impact. And that kind of culture for me, I think is pretty impressive in this day and age where leaders lean in a really good way to support teams, but they also want to do a lot of knowledge sharing. So I know that's a long-winded answer, but it's hard to explain in like 3 clear words because, well, maybe I can try, but it's a high energy, it's transparent, and there's just a lot of you know, deep appreciation for what we're trying to accomplish.
Now, top tier talent, regardless of market conditions, they always have options. There's different companies that are, you know, looking to hire those top tier talented individuals. So why should Rapid7 be on the radar for job seekers?
I would say one, tech B2B is one of those areas where a lot of folks talk about this merging of B2B and B2C, right? I don't think that really needs to be the conversation. I think it needs to be about how do you actually define all of those elements, especially from a marketing perspective, especially on your skill set side. How do you lean into an area where it's going to be constantly evolving? And I think that's inherently with the pace of this next generation, where there's an instant gratification and then there's a move on. There's an instant gratification and a move on. That pulse works really well at Rapid7. And I don't mean that in a bad way, like we kind of push something to the side. I mean that because the category is consistently evolving, because the company is on a growth trajectory, that's a huge opportunity for people to go, okay, I want to be part of a growth company, right? I want to be part of something that has a higher level purpose of basically protecting customers across the globe. At the same time, I'm going to learn an incredible amount about what expansive technology has as an impact for this world of cybersecurity, right? Like when you think about the new world of AI, like that is gonna be a massive impact where cybersecurity and even for us as we think about our capabilities, how does that get enhanced? So I feel like if you're really looking for something where you want to lean in and learn a core part of a business, but have a constant pulse and understand that things are going to change and you want to be able to adapt to that, that's an incredible way to start your career. Or if you're in the middle of your career and you're looking for that next level of energy, like that was for me. I was looking for, hey, you know, when I was at Liberty Mutual, I loved it and I had a great time there and I was there for 5 years, but I was ready to turn on something new and to learn something new. And that's where Rapid7 really came in. I said, okay, this is a category that's going to consistently keep evolving. I'm going to keep learning it every single day that I'm in the office. And that's exciting. So I'd say that's a huge benefit to joining Rapid7. And then also the culture, right? That we talked about earlier.
Well, if you are interested in exploring opportunities at Rapid7, you need to go to their company page on VentureFizz, which has all their job listings there. Go to venturefizz.com/Rapid7 and you'll see their jobs listed. Cliff, thanks so much for taking the time to bring us up to speed on all the great things happening at Rapid7.
Thank you, Keith. I appreciate your time and really appreciate all the great questions today.